Steam just pulled the sneakiest move I've seen in years, guys. And if you're not paying attention, you're about to start buying games without ever knowing the truth about them. You can see this headline. This is from Censorship.com. It says new Steam update changes how review scores work. So, yeah, this is concerning because not only did they change how review scores work, they did it quietly. Yes, Valve has quietly changed how review scores work, and on the surface it sounds innocent. People might be like, oh, it's just a tweak, but when you actually break it down, guys, this could completely rewrite how gamers see, buy, and trust games on Steam, which is like the biggest platform on PC. So here's what they're doing, guys. By default, Steam will now only show you reviews that are written in the same language as your account. That means if you're in the United States and you only speak English, you will only see reviews written in English. If you're in China, you'll only see Chinese reviews. And that might sound fine until you realize what this actually does. So let's talk about this. Let's take a look at this article. It says Steam has just rolled out a new update that has changed how review scores of certain games are shown to users on the platform. So keyword certain here, guys. They're running a lot of protection, a lot of defense for a lot of games out there that get review bombed, a lot of games where the truth hurts when it comes to these developers that go ahead and focus on ideologies and woke narratives and stuff like that. This is to protect the narratives, guys. Now, going on, this article says one of the first things most of us do before purchasing a game on Steam is to check its review score. When you're about to make a big purchase on a new release, chances are you'd want to see if the game itself is even worth your time, which is reasonable. As a consumer, it's reasonable to know if it's worth spending our money, if it's worth going out there and spending the now $70 or $80 that we're seeing on some consoles. Without having to read all the reviews one by one, Steam can help save a lot of time informing you about how well a game is perceived, as it instantly lets you know the review score of the title on its store page. However, things have now changed somewhat. A new update rolled out on August 18th, 2025 has given this system an overhaul by introducing language-specific review sources. According to a blog post from Steam, this change was aimed at helping customers make informed decisions when considering the purchase of a new game. So here's a screenshot. You can see your languages, all languages, and then you can see it's separated by different languages. Languages with enough reviews to generate a language-specific review score have been split out below for ease of filtering. So they say, guys. So why is this suspicious? Well, this update essentially hides global backlash. Okay, think about it. If a game gets censored, let's think of a game that has, I guess, too risque outfits for females or too much gore. Just for whatever reason, it's a game that comes out and it gets censored. Or let's say when players in another country start review bombing it because of shady changes, you won't see it anymore. You won't have an informed user score based on players upset if they're not in your, I guess, language bracket. The overall score that you will see when you're looking at this game will be clean. Clean, right? It'll look like everything's fine, even if tens of thousands of players elsewhere are furious and review bombing the game. That's why it's sus. That's why it's sus. So let's think of a game like Wu-Tang, or Wu-Chang. I always say Wu-Tang. Wu-Chang Fallen Feathers, right? The game was censored after pushback from Chinese nationalist. Gamers all over hammered the reviews to warn others. So if you went back and you looked at all the reviews, they were basically calling this game out. And under this brand new system, most Western players wouldn't even see that outrage. You would just not even notice it because it's not even able for you to be seeing, I guess, through whatever setting is coming now. They'd just see a glowing score, they would buy the game, and then they would never know that they were playing a watered-down, censored version of this game. Continuing on with this article, it says the way it now works is that for some games, the review score that is shown to the user will be based on reviews written in their language. This essentially means that a game could have varying review scores depending on the language. And there are a variety of reasons this may happen for a particular game, including translation issues, cultural references, poor network connections, and many others. Things that the overall review scores haven't been able to capture until now, the post reads. Calculating a language-specific review score means that we can better distill the sentiment of these different groups of customers, and in doing so, better serve potential customers that belong to those groups. This particular change doesn't apply to all games, but only to those that have more than 2,000 publicly visible reviews and with at least 200 written reviews in at least one language. And again, this is just shady, in my opinion. It also mentioned that the thresholds were made higher than the 10 reviews required to calculate the overall review scores on purpose, as the company wants to be confident in the language-specific score before showing it to users. Games that have language-specific review scores will have a slightly different interface on the platform, showing reviews in the user's primary language, recent reviews, and the option to see the language breakdown. The latter option lets you check out the game's review score in other languages. By default, Steam's language-specific review scores are already enabled. And it does mention that if you want to switch back to simply seeing the overall review score, you can always tweak the store preferences setting on your account. So at least there's that. And again, the official excuse that Valve is claiming, it's about cultural differences, right? Translation issues, giving players a more accurate idea of how their region feels, all that warm, lovey-dovey stuff that honestly, to me, just sounds like a bunch of excuses. Let's be real here. The system is burying global sentiment. It's hiding the bigger conversation of games that deserve to be reviewed bad, that deserve to have stuff called out. Think about all the games this past year that have had a lot of backlash behind them. Assassin's Creed Shadows is one of them, right? There's a bigger conversation here where the truth needs to come out, and anytime that a platform messes with the way that reviews are displayed, whether it's Rotten Tomatoes or Steam, IMDb, you know it's about control here, guys. They want to control the narrative. They want to silence critics. That's what it's all about. That's what it's always about. They want to silence critics. Like this article says, not every game will be hit by this rule. It only kicks in once the game has 2,000 reviews, it said, and at least 200 in a specific language. But let's be honest, who does that really apply to? Think about all the games, think about everything. Which games will actually reach that threshold? Right? The big AAA titles, which are the ones that you guys are concerned about, which is the ones that you guys want to know, are they worth your money? You're not worrying about the tiny little independent titles. You want the big AAA titles, the Ubisoft stuff, the Activision stuff, the stuff that's actually coming out and making some noise and getting called out. The ones that have already faced the most criticism, the most censorship, and the most backlash. Indie devs, they slip under the radar constantly. Most of the time, we don't pay attention to them. But the massive games, guys, the ones that have the most at stake, those are the ones that get their reputation sanitized with this new scoring system. So here's what we need to do, guys. This is the call to action to empower you guys. If you're using Steam, don't trust the default score when you're going into Steam going forward. Go into your settings and switch back to the old system, okay? Look at all the reviews from all the languages. Use your translate button if you gotta do it. Google Translate has a translate button, because if a game's being censored, manipulated, or screwing players, it's you deserve to know about it. And this is a way of Steam hiding that. Now, sure, there's websites out there will probably be covering it. You'll probably see talking heads like myself and other YouTube creators talking about these games. But if you're on the platform, you need to make sure you go back, tweak the default settings, use Google Translate if you can. Don't trust the default score, because the system is shady, guys. Steam's saying that this is about transparency, but I'm looking at this with a little bit of a serious side eye right now. Because to me, this isn't transparency. This is not transparency at all, guys. It's selective censorship. That's why the threshold is so high. Because they're protecting the bigger games. Think about it. I want to know what you guys think about this, guys. Is this change about protecting games from noise, or is it silencing voices that they don't want you to hear? I think it's them silencing voices they don't want you to hear. Drop your thoughts below. I'll be reading through them. I always like reading the comments. And if you want to keep in the know about stuff like this, gaming news, whatnot, make sure you hit that subscription button. I'll see you on the next video, guys. Thank you so much for watching.